Hello, my name is Derek, and everything that I usually say at the start of the video is at the very top of the screen. And in today's video, like always, I'm going to show Bitcoin, but not for that long. Go over Poly crossed with a BTC. Interesting chart setup. I'm going to then talk further about the trading strategy to gain altcoins. And I'll be bringing my spreadsheet up, for I have been talking about this trading game where everything's worth the same unit, in this case for simple math, and some people would do one Bitcoin for that, and to see how well you would do, of course, against the TUSD, not so well. We've seen with other coins that there were fantastic results, and most coins that don't go straight down and ones that go up in nice choppy movements will usually always have great results. But we're going to talk this time about the strategy just to gain altcoins and see how many you can get by buying low and selling high. And I'm going to show an example with such on XBY. Theta, this is one of how the up and down moves. I'm going to show the chart as well, but I'll show you how many coins that I've gained, how I've done it in a spreadsheet. And then we're going to take a look at Poly in an example like that using the buy low, sell high strategy. I'll try to do it very fast, and overall, still going to be a 20-30 minute video. I don't see how I can not do it shorter than such. So let's get on with the action. Daily term time frame for Bitcoin. Back in here, I was saying every single day, Bitcoin remains in the same pattern, staying within the 18. I mean, it was crazy in here. Well, Bitcoin remains now for like the 7th, 8th, or whatever consecutive day since November the 29th, and consolidating within this downtrend, finding support a little bit below the 18 average, and just riding the 18 average lower as it continues to decline. On the 4-hour term time frame, we are now seeing that there's obviously a downtrend that within this 18. We had a key support level of 38 and change. It got broke. 37.5. It got broke. Currently, the last key level is 36.5. And in the November 20s days, it was about 35.5, 3 or 4 times hit back then. So I guess that would be the next relevant key support. Interesting session here on the 0 hour or midnight timestamp Eastern time from last night, as the market at 11 a.m. yesterday had a down hour, breaking, of course, that 37.80 and then going sideways for, pretty much half a day. And then a decent sized gain since then, about 5 very low volatile days going sideways near the top of the gain. And then a very small but noticeable red size candle down, making a higher low, almost coming back to where it came from. Maybe it still might as it's doing such. So let's take a look at this move, and we can see a lot on the 15-minute term time frame as well. What this thing had the typical failed breakdown before the move. We can see that these levels of support, wherever you put them in here, they all got noticeably taken out. We'll keep that line in for the meantime, because we're almost done this as it is anyway. There's the rally back. Oh, did it go back to its previous level where it came from? Yeah, it did. So I would have been saying, okay, so if we rally from here, where are we going? Well, I'm looking at this line here at 37.87 up to 38.80, and that's exactly where it went to. And then, of course, there's this little support level that got taken out. Now it's having the resistance test within the 18, and I'm going to even take a look at this on the 5-minute time frame. We can see just how fast this is. And if we even go to the 1 minute, let's just see how long it took to go up. And I'm looking at the 1 minute here for the first time. All these other time frames are prepared coming in advance. Yeah, so here's the situation. There's that little failed move. It took about 3-4 minutes. And then 4 minutes later, it goes up, has this big move, about 3-4-5 minutes going sideways. Another small move there after that. Now let's move on to the strategy for gaining altcoins. Recently, I've been talking about a base strategy where everything's worth the same amount, and you're trying to increase Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, or whatever the base trading, or Tether, whatever the level you're trading against. Mostly for me, it would be Bitcoin, and I think for a lot of people as well, if they use this type of trading mechanism or similar. And then this one is, you like a coin, it's very dirt cheap, all that type of stuff, and you want to trade, but you don't want to have a situation where you're just you want bigger gains going above, because that's what the last strategy I've talked about will lack when markets go way up. So within such, you want to buy back more coins than you sold. So you're not going to profit BTC in the lower or earlier term time frames. You want to find large key areas to sell larger. So you want to start profiting Bitcoin at that point. You want to sell much lower than the earlier base play. For example, say a market goes up 30% and you're playing longer term type moves, and then maybe sell 12%, 10%, 15% of your coins. The example on XBY that I show will have this level in here. So therefore, markets go up, markets go down, all that type of stuff. So let's just assume you get into a code at 1,000, and it gets to a Satoshi, that is, and it goes to 1,300. So now you sell 12% of your stack. And I'm saying that like poker, but it pretty much is the same. And then you put your buy order in. And whatever the amount of Bitcoin that you received when you sold it, that's how much you're going to spend on that buy order, and it's going to stay. So every time you sell, you get all these sell orders in here. And you get notified for 4. You're going to put a buy order maybe here, buy order here, buy order here, buy order here, however it is that you will. Look at key areas, look at mathematical numbers, however, a combination of both or all different things to determine those levels. And on a basic strategy, you want to make sure that you never delete these orders, unless, of course, you're on Bittrex and you have to every 30 days, but you're always going to keep them in place. And if you're ever in a situation where, and we're going to get to this in the poly point, where you have all your buy orders are done. That means the market's making new lows. You're going to have a strategy of how many you're going to accumulate. Okay, so the market goes down, say, 15%. Maybe I want to increase my stack 20% or whatever. That's up to you how you do that. We'll get into that in a little bit. So then, I used an example like this with an XBY. And what it does is, every time it gains 30%, I would sell about 12%. Close to 12%. And then I put the buyback like that, and then whenever I make my buys, 12% would get a little bit higher every time. And you can mathematically lower that. In fact, oftentimes in real life I do. In XBY, I always sell the same amounts at these levels. So, but we will do that. And then you have the key levels I talk about. So what I used was an 8x move. If the market goes up 8 times, say you start at 90, so therefore you go 720. Well, then you know what? That's a decent place to sell. I'm going to sell more there. With the sales, really what I want to do with it is 2 things. 1, I want to place larger percentage buy orders, and maybe multiple ones, 2 or 3. Maybe I put one at about 350 or 300, maybe one at about 250. I also want to possibly, and maybe more so at the upper end sales, profit take. That means take some of what I sold, put it into a wallet, buy some other coins, do some other stuff with it. And then when I have a bigger gain, maybe 5x, 8x, 10x from there, we'll say in this case we'll go 5,500, which is about an 8x move. What's about it? Yeah. So that means I'm going to do the same thing again, but at a larger level. I might look for buys, considering I bought, if you're starting at 90 and you see something go from 90 to 5,500, that means you got to really expect that it can go much lower. So put some buy orders in maybe around 2,500, put some buy orders at around 1,000, and again, major profit taking. Now what I didn't do in this video, or the example I'm going to show, is what I'm saying. That is, in here, before it gets to 720, I want to buy back, as I stated before, 100% back. But as the prices get higher, maybe in like over 1,000, you're like, okay, if I'm selling over 1,000, I want to say I sell for one unit. I sold 100 for 1 unit or whatever. And now I want to buy, say, maybe 0.9 something units back and buy over 100. So buy 110. I'll talk a little bit about that later on. And then maybe here, when it's so high, Okay, I just sold 100 at this price. I'm going to buy 100 back, lower it, and only profit Bitcoin, just only because the prices are so magnificently high. But I'm going to show a spreadsheet. And what I did was I started at 90 and I did all those things. So these are the buys and sells. 2 represents sell, 1 represents buy. It got off to an amazing start, as you can see. This was the 720 level that I mentioned, so I sold more at this. I put 2 different sell orders in for 2 different buybacks. And then all of these moves we're going to see. And then when it got really, really high, which is, and we can see there was a lot of trades back and forth. The volatility was just so amazing last year. So there's the higher prices here. There was a 5,500 where I did the sale again. And then the market's been going back up and down. Everything up to here, I mean, trades were happening like literally every day. I sell one day, buy the next day. Sell the next day, buy the next day. It was a lot of days like that. I mean, I skimmed through the last half year, 5 months, without even a trade on this. This 475 sale was a long time ago. But anyway, that's not the point. So within this, what I would do when making the buys and sells, and this isn't how I did it, although I did probably just as good, is I would, well, there's the buy at 11,000 or 111,000 to start. So what the sell, I would sell 16,005 for this. And why these two are not bold, and these ones are, as I was doing this, every time I got a buyback, I would bold the fact that this one has got the buyback on the sale. So therefore, you get situations, let me just go through some more where you're buying and selling back and forth, just how. So here's some interesting spots where this is the buy, this is the sell where you sold many in a row. So you sold 14,000.04, selling for like 0.04, 0.05, starting with 0.1. That's what I started this with. But as we can see this here, selling 8,600 for 0.10402 and change. And then buying about 10,985 for 0.10403 and change. So I just push equal this. That's all I did on the spreadsheet. But then you sell 8,900, buy back 11.3. Sell 11,000, buy back 14. Magnificent move on that one. Sell 11.5, buy back 14 and change again. And just keep on doing it. But what we noticed in here is the amount that I would trade for. 7, 8, 9, now it goes up to 12, 10, 12, 13. Bigger numbers get bigger, 15, 17, 13, 13. That's because the market's going down. 12. Now these ones, they would have got the buyback. I just didn't need to bold them. And then the numbers go up to 0.23, 0.28, 0.5. The numbers were getting sickly higher. And you're going to have some interesting spots as well where when you look at some of the buys that you have, how some of them are very low. And I'm going to show you why as well. Let me just find one. Or I got 2 or 3 in here like that. Well, here's one spot where you buy for 0.47. That's because that was the buyback of the big one. Or no, it wasn't. Yeah, this is right. So look at all these buys. Buying for 0.45, 0.47, and then 0.29. That's because these 2 buys were from a long time ago when the stakes were lower. There's some bigger ones and more noticeable ones than that. Let me see if I... Right here. This one here. Here I am selling 51,000 for almost 0.14 and then taking that number and buying back 65. Now I'm buying back 15,000 at a lower price at 0.02. Why such a lower number? Well, if I look for 238, 0238 that is, right here. So getting that buyback a long, long time later. So how it worked out was I would have started off buying 111,000 or over 100,000 at the price point of 90. When the price point got up about 5 times more, my ownership, well, it's which own is right here. Now I own 577,000 of them. 5 times more. Again, I started with 0.1. You can see here at the start that with the rake, I bought that for 0.100199, or it would be 1.002. Close enough. And when I look at the statistics that I put in here, what I calculated was this is how much your Bitcoin that you would own and how much your altcoin is worth. And you just add the two together. And we can see here, your portfolio goes to 0.47. So you're up like 5 times there. Gets to over 1, so now you've done the 10x move. Now it gets over 2, there's your 20x move, there's your 50x move, there's your 60x move. Now it's fallen back down 50x, because that's going to happen in downtrends as well here. 33x, 32x at 475. So now you'd be at about a little less than that. When I was doing over the previous strategy on such, I was literally getting my butt kicked compared to this. Meaning I was only gaining like 7, 8, 9, 10, 8 times, 7 times. Doing pretty good, but not 32 times. So this was going to, in uptrends, do a lot better overall. Let's move on next to Theta. And I still got to go over Poly as well, but we'll get to that. It's almost 20 minutes, but that's fine. I drew these 2 lines in key areas where I had to hold. So now it's at that bottom area. It's meeting up with the 18 average of lows. Here we go. Big test. I want to see it hold and stay above. Certainly go below it. In fact, I hope it does for buy orders for that purpose. But if it does do such, then that's what it needs to do to make this rally real. It could take months if it needs be to get above that level and maybe consolidate for the first 5 months in 2019 between 1,500 and 4,000 or 3,000, and then do it later. And that would be fine for me as well, because I would just chop away back and forth. But that's what the market has done. Let's take a look at this on the single hour time frame. And within such, as far as my buy low, sell high, I'm going to explain a little bit of what I did. I sold a lot on this up move, obviously. Then I woke up, I bought back some more. Then when it hit this high of 23, I sold a bit more, obviously buying it back. This little rally again, selling a bit more, and I've been buying back ever since. So I've put all the results into a spreadsheet. And this is the spreadsheet, which has a bunch of trades, sells and buys down below. What this represents is every single sell order I have executed since the big rally. And when you look at these numbers, 77, 76, 78, basically what I do is every single time I sell one less the next time. For the most part. Sometimes it's the same if need be. I'll go 40, 40, 39, 39, 38, 30, whatever. But that's generally how I do it. And then everything that I buy, so therefore, these numbers here, this represents how much I ended up getting for the play. So this was the top right here that I talked. No, it's not. 23.99, that's not the top. That was just two buys to get that. I should have a 15 for the top, maybe, I think it was. Yeah, right here. So 36.95, that's the top right there. But I had a sell order of 46. It's just the other 31 didn't go. So that was the last person to trade at this number. But what this is this is the amount of Bitcoin that I received. This is the amount of Binance coin I had to pay for the trade. So all of what I've done is in the matching game, when you have markets do this, you have all of these sell orders, of course, that happen. So as I was showing at the start, what I've done is every single full match that I have had is in that spreadsheet. So therefore, if I go to another sheet, I still have 4, 5, I have 7 cells from 13.49 all the way up to 16.05. I haven't bought these ones back yet. They're the next ones to buy back. So therefore, my next buy order is for 0.001267 Bitcoin worth, obviously. And what I've done for calculations is the following. I have taken the sum of the sales up here, which is 2,843. Or, excuse me, buys. These are buys up top. And the sum of the sales below, it's 2,307. So I've gained 536 free coins. Mathematically here, I have spent 0.05 Bitcoin to get them. I received 0.052 Bitcoin. That is the buying to the profit. This number here represents the amount of Binance coin that I spent on rate fees, which is 0.06. And that's really the sum of all of these numbers. Oh, easy. So therefore, this number, subtract the other one, plus an additional extra 8,709 Bitcoin Satoshi, which is what this is worth in Binance coin. That's a differential of those two. So I have gained 62,335 Bitcoin Satoshi. That's enough for a Bitcoin transfer. Because Bitcoin transfers cost like 50,000. But there's a profit in the coins. So you know what? That's what I'm trying to do. Let's move on next to polygraph, or polymath, rather. They rhyme. Polygraph, polymath. As a poet, didn't even know it. Okay. Interesting setup here. Interesting setup as you have the down move. That's normal. And then a little over a week of consolidating within the 18 average. And then just recently getting above that level and coming right back now to where it came from. So we'll see how it does here because it's got to hold this general area. Looking at this on a shorter term time frame, single hour chart. Look at what happens when these things go. Yeah, just the volatility starts to increase on the 5-hour timestamp, December the 5th. And look at the size of the periods ever since then and still till now. Much larger than it was before. So this is just the indication of higher volatility. Within the play, it had a good leg higher, going from 32 up to 37. That's a gain of about 15%, going sideways for about more than a half a day. And then in 2 hours, having another leg higher, correcting in 3 hours down to the 18 highs, retesting previous high over the next couple of hours or so. And it's been straight down ever since with 5 good red candles and one sideways one after the third. Of course, it's now below this line, but within the daily term time frame, it's just at the 18 average of highs and the 18 average of lows starting to rise. It's really got to hold this. It really, really does. Because if this doesn't, you see weakness with the 18 lows breaking down from such, then, minimum, we should be going down to 2,000. So therefore, let's talk about the strategy. Let's just assume you were up here around 4,700. And you wanted to, and you'd be way up right now at 35. Or you'd be up anyway. It's not much action. But with these days here, we're going to see how these 2 days work out. We're going to shorten the time frame out. So let's do that now. Let's shorten it out. Let's do the single hour. And I see everything that's happening, but bottom line is, it's the only way for me to scroll back. So using that type of strategy that I talked about before, we are always trying to gain coins. When you have a spot, like I state, that, oh my goodness, I'm going to be, I don't have any, I got all my sellers with buy orders. If it goes lower than that, which it will, you need a plan to buy. We'll get into that. And I'm going to do this in the next video since we're already at 22. But how I'm going to make the next video is the following. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start around here, and I'm going to place buy orders and sell orders in, like I normally would. So we'll set that up now to start for the next video. So say you buy at 38.68. What I would do is put the sell orders in as I normally would, and we'll put one up, say, here at, what's that for? That's not one higher than that. 45. So you put one maybe at 45. Then maybe again, say here at, no one higher than 6 if I'm going to put a second one in. Say somewhere up here. We could even do like every 25%. That's just as easy as well too. But then you put your buy orders in. And if you're buying at, say, this is 31. Okay, that's a 700 point reduction over 20%. Okay, that's fine. And then maybe you want to do one. Well, I don't want more than 20%. I mean, I'll buy 20% lower again if it hits the 31, but I'm not going to put that 20% buy order in now. So on the execution, I would. But if this thing goes down so fast, I might want to do like a 30-40% move. So that would be like somewhere around maybe 21. And then say somewhere again, maybe at around the 750. And we see when it comes, this is exactly why you want to do it. I'm going to go through this when this actually happens. And these numbers are going to change as it is anyway, because these buy orders are going to come through. So just to spoil what's going to happen, you can get no sale. Will we get a sale order in advance? Nope, we won't. I'm not going to manipulate it up here. That would be not right. You have your movements, nothing going on. Maybe I should increase it, but there's where you'd be buying, so you'd adjust your orders. And then when this day happens here, this is where you're like, sweet. And I want to talk about what you would do when these situations happen and you do get the execution. So what I will do for purposes of such is manipulate the buy order to make sure I'm at least buying at 1,000. I could even just go 500 just for fun, but 700 to 1,000, I'm going to make sure I have a buy order in for the training, or for the mathematical and training purposes of this video. So that will be later on. No guarantee on how long it's going to take. It could be in the morning, it could be in the afternoon, but probably be either or. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.